At the beginning of the manhwa, we see a unique world where video games and the real world have completely merged with each other. The scenery of this world is as beautiful to look at as it is dangerous. Massive and bizarre flowers grow on top of huge buildings, advanced airplanes fly in the sky, and dangerous giant snakes and monsters roam right in the middle of the city. Countless ancient ruins and secret realms exist here, filled with terrifying monsters, like a one-eyed giant cyclops, strange insects flying in the air, and three-headed lions spitting fire. People hunt these monsters to gain experience and new materials, which allows them to craft new weapons and equipment for themselves. But above all these powerful monsters, there's one species that is worshipped like a god in this world, and they are the most massive and powerful dragons. The story begins in the third school of the Dragon Kingdom. Inside class 25, a bald teacher slams his hand loudly on the blackboard and asks the entire class to pay attention. He tells them that today is the biggest day of their lives. Today is their job transition rally. This rally will not only decide who gets to go to college, but their entire future rests on this single day. Motivating the kids, the teacher says that although the job transition is completely random and based on luck, if they have strong determination inside them, they can definitely become a powerful combat professional. Sitting in the middle of the class, our main character, Lu Fan, takes a deep breath and thinks to himself that the day he had been eagerly waiting for has finally arrived. Actually, Lu Fan is not from this world. He was teleported here 3 years ago from our Earth blue star. In these 3 years, he has understood all the rules of this strange world very well. Lu Fan tells us that in this world, people are mainly divided into 3 types of professions. Combat professions, at the very top and the most respected, are warriors, mages, and archers. These people go to new and unknown territories to kill monsters, collect rare items, and live the most spectacular lives. Enhancement professions. In second place come the enchanters and alchemists. They craft powerful magical items and potions, but their profession is so expensive that only kids from wealthy families can afford the expenses. Life professions, at the very bottom, are chefs, farmers, or miners. These are the common people who have to toil and grind like ordinary folks just to feed themselves for the rest of their lives. Thinking about all this, Lu Fan remembers his Aunt Han Ki. Aunt Han Ki is only 8 years older than Lu Fan, but she works day and night sweating as a chef in a bun shop. She works so hard every day just so she can bear all the expenses for Lu Fan's education, and to this day she has never once complained about it. A fierce determination appears in Lu Fan's eyes. Clenching his fists, he promises himself that to survive in this ruthless world and give his innocent aunt a life of luxury, he must become a combat professional at any cost. Suddenly, the principal calls the teacher to inform him that the job transition ceremony is about to start in the hall. Voices of joy and nervousness echo throughout the class. The teacher walks over to Lu Fan, puts a hand on his shoulder, and says, "Lu Fan, you're the top student of the class, you don't need to stress too much." But Lu Fan couldn't hear a thing, because at that exact moment, a glowing blue holographic screen opens up right in front of his eyes. The screen reads, "Ding! Congratulations, Lu Fan! The Super Treasure Map System has been successfully activated." Reading this, Lu Fan's eyes widen in shock. A strange gasp of surprise escapes his mouth. The teacher nervously asks what happened and if he is alright. Lu Fan quickly comes to his senses and, deflecting the situation, says, "Oh teacher, I am fine, I have to go." And he rapidly runs out of the class. While hurriedly running down the stairs, Lu Fan loses his balance out of sheer joy and slips, but there is a massive smile on his face. He thinks that finally his cheat system has arrived. In a fantasy world where everyone has magic, how would he have survived without a system anyway? Although he still doesn't know how this system works, he decides to figure it out later. Right now, his transition ceremony is the most important thing. The scene in the hall is incredibly grand and awe-inspiring. Thousands of students are gathered in the crowd, and right in the middle of the stage rests a massive glowing blue job transition crystal. A principal with a long white beard approaches the mic, quiets everyone down, and announces that the ceremony is about to begin. He introduces a priest standing next to him. This priest is dressed in white and golden robes and holds a magical staff in his hand. An entirely different level of powerful magical aura radiates from the priest, leaving all the kids standing there absolutely stunned. Lu Fan is also drawn to that aura when his system suddenly gives a notification, "New skill acquired, Eye of Appraisal." Without a second thought, Lu Fan immediately uses the skill on the priest. The very next moment, a new panel opens in front of him containing the priest's full details. Profession: Priest, level 29. And the most shocking detail, he had 5 million dragon coins in his inventory. This amount is so massive that Lu Fan shouts out loud in shock, "5 million! The principal angrily tells him to stay quiet. Lu Fan is still in shock, thinking that his poor aunt wouldn't have seen this much money in her entire life of selling selling buns, yet this priest just has it lying around on him. Ceremony begins, and the principal calls out the very first name, Zhang Tao. Zhang Tao is the top student of the grade. He has gray-blue hair and walks onto the stage with immense confidence. Kids in the crowd start murmuring that his attributes are very high, so he will definitely become a combat professional. Zhang Tao steps up and stands near the crystal. The priest strikes his staff on the ground, and suddenly golden-colored magical words emerge from the crystal and begin floating in the air. Those words form a circle completely surrounding Zhang Tao. A blindingly bright light flashes, and the next moment, a blazing ball of fire materializes in Zhang Tao's hand. The entire crowd goes crazy with excitement. He became a mage, a fire mage. People shout that Zhang Tao's future is now set. Becoming a combatant means permanent freedom from a normal life. One boy even declares that he will go and fall at Zhang Tao's feet so he can benefit a little too. But as the ceremony moves forward, the bitter truth of reality comes to light. Not everyone is as lucky as Zhang Tao. The principal calls out names one by one and the kids step onto the stage. Someone gets the profession of a herbalist, which is their family business, so they quietly accept it. One boy gets tailor and looks incredibly disappointed. The worst moment happens when a boy starts crying on stage because he got the profession of miner, a stonebreaker in the mines. Watching all this, Lu Fan analyzes that only a lucky few manage to become combat professionals, while the vast majority spend their entire lives suffocating in life professions. Another girl named Li Ping comes down from the stage crying. She received an enhancement profession. While normally a good thing, her family is deeply impoverished, and she will never be able to afford the expensive materials required for enhancement. Lu Fan gets a bit scared seeing this. He realizes his own situation is exactly the same. What would he do if he got an expensive enhancement profession? After a while, the voice Lu Fan had been waiting for finally echoes through the hall. Next, Lu Fan from class 25. Hearing Lu Fan's name, the girls in the crowd start whispering praises about how handsome he is. Lu Fan takes a deep breath and steps toward the stage with complete calmness and dignity. He reaches out with both hands and places them on the glowing, cold crystal. The priest begins his magic once again. The golden runes start spinning in the air and completely surround Lu Fan. Lu Fan closes his eyes, just hoping for the best. But this time, something happens that no one there had ever dreamed of. Suddenly, the daylight vanishes. The entire sky is engulfed in darkness and turns a deep blood-red color. From between the clouds, a terrifying, massive, and glowing eye of a dragon opens up and stares down at everyone below. The ground begins to shake violently as if a massive earthquake has struck. Kids in the crowd start tumbling over in fear, screaming, "What is happening? Where did this earthquake come from?" Just then, a colossal and blindingly bright golden beam of light shoots straight down from the sky, striking Lu Fan's crystal. And from within that beam, an actual, extremely dangerous, and furiously roaring phantom of a dark red dragon emerges and stands right on the stage. Shockwaves and flames erupt throughout the hall from its deafening roars. Seeing this spectacle, everyone in the crowd completely loses their minds. A giant dragon! Lu Fan's transition directly summoned a dragon. Some teachers and students scream, "This is no ordinary event. This is an extraordinary phenomenon that only happens when a hidden profession is born." The old principal standing below the stage goes absolutely crazy with joy. His eyes light up as he shouts, "The first hidden profession has arrived in our school. Unbelievable. If this kid has awakened as a dragon blood warrior or a dragon language mage, he will become the new ultimate expert of the entire dragon kingdom and make history. The last time someone awakened as a dragon blood warrior was 10 years ago, and today he is the top fighter in the country." As soon as the dust and light clear a bit, the priest nervously rushes over to Lu Fan. The principal also sprints onto the stage, grabs Lu Fan tightly by the shoulders, and with overflowing energy demands, "Kid, tell me quickly, what is your profession? What have you become? A dragon blood warrior or a dragon language mage?" But the atmosphere suddenly shifts. Lu Fan's face is cast in shadows, sweat is dripping down his forehead, and a profound sense of disappointment is visible in his eyes. He cannot even gather the courage to meet the principal's gaze. In a terrified, quiet voice, he softly mutters, "I have become a Dragon Tamer." The moment those words are spoken, a deathly silence sweeps across the entire hall. The priest's eyes widen in fear and shock, and he takes 2 steps back from Lu Fan. The principal, who had been dancing with joy just 2 seconds prior, has the blood completely drained from his face. His expression twists from shock into pure frustration. Tearing at his hair, he screams at the top of his lungs. But how is this possible? The most useless and worthless profession in this entire world. Dragon Tamer. After the transition ceremony ends, we see Lu Fan walking sadly towards his home in the old town district of Jianghai City. While walking, he opens his holographic status panel in the midair, which reads, "Class Dragon Tamer, Level 0. All his skills have question marks on them, and he only has $239 left in his inventory." Disappointed, Lu Fan recalls what people were saying. Everyone in the hall was laughing at him, saying that even though it is a hidden class in terms of practical strength, it is the most useless and weakest class in this world. How could a mere human tame such powerful dragons? His teacher had tried to console him by saying that he has unlimited potential, and if he wants, he could become powerful by taming some lesser dragons. But Lu Fan knew the bitter truth of this world. Lesser dragons are just wild and dangerous beasts. They are absolute trash compared to true dragons. In the past 800 years of the Dragon Kingdom's history, massive dragons have certainly been seen in the sky, but to this day, not a single dragon tamer has been born who has tamed a real dragon. In front of a giant dragon, even the most powerful and high-level human is like a bug. And the biggest problem was that until a dragon tamer has their own dragon, they can neither level up nor unlock their skills. Letting out a deep sigh at his useless luck, Lu Fan thinks about how hard his aunt worked to educate him, and now, failing to become a combat professional, he would never be able to give her a better life. Walking along, he reaches his home, the bun shop. As soon as he opens the door, his Aunt Hanki welcomes him with a big smile. Aunt Hanki is incredibly beautiful, and her profession is that of a chef. On the table, she has prepared a lot of Lu Fan's favorite and very delicious food today. She happily comes over, hugs Lu Fan from behind, and says that today is Lu Fan's biggest day. Aunt Hanki asks with eyes full of hope, "How was it? What profession did you transition into?" Lu Fan's face drops with shame and disappointment. Lowering his gaze, he says in a timid voice, "I have become a dragon tamer." Hearing this, his aunt is startled for a moment because the whole world knows that without a dragon, this profession is absolute trash. But the very next moment, a sweet smile returns to her face. Sitting across from him at the table, she says affectionately, "It's okay, Lu Fan. If you didn't become a combat professional, that's even better. If you went into the wilderness every day to fight monsters, the worry would have killed me." Stroking his head, she says, "If you don't want to go to college, you can run this bun shop with me, and if you want to study, your auntie will continue to bear all your education expenses." Hearing these words from his aunt, Lu Fan becomes even more emotional. He hugs her and softly says, "Auntie." After that, they both start eating together, although there's so much food on the table that Lu Fan laughingly says he won't be able to eat all of it alone. It is night time. Lu Fan is lying on his bed in his room, staring at the ceiling. Anger and helplessness are clearly visible in his eyes. His aunt is only 26 years old, and she has worked so hard throughout her youth in this minor life profession, yet her ordinary life could never change. Lu Fan clenches his fists tightly and thinks that he cannot give up. A dragon tamer without a dragon is definitely weak, but if I have a real dragon, then this will truly become the most powerful and true hidden profession in this world. But in the end, it all comes back to the same question: where will he actually find a dragon? And just then, suddenly, a ding sound rings in his ears, and piercing through the darkness of the room, a glowing blue screen opens up. Ding, congratulations Lu Fan, the first day treasure map has been sent. A magnificent golden-colored map box appears on the holographic screen, seeing which Lu Fan sits up in absolute shock. A treasure map, and that too a god tier level right on the first day. Lu Fan immediately remembers that his super treasure map system had activated while he was still at school. He carefully reads the system rules. The system explains that maps have different levels: beginner, intermediate, advanced, and god tier. If someone wants, they can combine 3 low-level maps to upgrade them into one high-level map. But the most special feature of his system was that he would get one treasure map every day, and the map's description clearly stated, by going to the locations on these maps, you will find rare treasures related to your profession. Lu Fan's heart starts beating rapidly. He thinks that since his profession is a dragon tamer, this god-tier map is bound to get him the most powerful item related to his profession, or perhaps even a real dragon. A dangerous confidence and obsession take over his face. He realizes that this is the only path that can change his destiny and turn him from a weakling into the most powerful person in this world. Without wasting any time, he clicks open on the map. As the map opens, a location flashes: area level 10 mountain and stone plain. Looking at the map, Lu Fan realizes that this rocky area is not too far from Zhanghai City. If he leaves right now and catches the last suburban night bus, he will reach that location by morning. He quickly gets up, changes his clothes, and leaves a note on his aunt's table that reads, "Auntie, I am going to the mountain stone plain for a few days. Please don't worry about me." Wearing a large backpack and fully covering himself up, he boards the bus in the dead of the night and sets off towards his destination. Looking out the bus window at the starry sky, he promises himself that no matter what happens, he won't let this opportunity slip out of his hands. He will change his and his aunt's lives. In the late night darkness, he arrives at the edge of the mountain and stone plain. This area looks very desolate and creepy. The sky is filled with stars, and there are large rocky mountains all around. He is just moving forward when suddenly, thud, he collides with something very solid and steps back. When he raises his head to look, his eyes widen in shock. Standing right in front of him is an extremely massive, muscular, and dangerous-looking man with a huge scar on his face. Right behind that brute is a skinny man wearing an eye patch, and his laugh is terrifying and blood-curdling. And behind them stands a pink-haired woman, spinning a shiny, sharp knife in her hand while glaring at Lu Fan. The man with the eye patch steps towards Lu Fan with a creepy smile and, trying to place a hand on his shoulder, says, "Brother, brother, do you want to go ahead with us? Lu Fan reacts instantly, immediately swatting his hand away and stepping back. His sharp and alert eyes immediately realize who is standing in front of him. He thinks to himself with a mix of fear and anger, these people, are they material hunters? Actually, in this world, there are some monstrous criminals roaming the wilderness and unknown places who, instead of putting in the effort to hunt monsters, look for other lone professionals. Then they ruthlessly murder them and loot all their valuable materials and money. For these people, killing someone is nothing more than a joke. The pink-haired woman steps forward, licking her knife. Looking Lu Fan up and down, she laughs an incredibly evil laugh and says, "What do you say, handsome? Think about it." The giant man with the scar face flexes his muscles and threatens Lu Fan. "Young man, roaming alone in the wilderness in the dead of the night is very dangerous. Ha ha ha." The three dangerous murderers had surrounded Lu Fan from all sides. Lu Fan had realized that returning alive from there without a fight was now impossible. He tightens his backpack strap and slips a hand inside his coat, preparing himself for a fight. There's no fear in his eyes, but rather a fiery glint that declared if these monsters tried to get in his and his dragon's way today, he would not leave them alive. Then the man with the eye patch says to Lu Fan, "Why don't we go ahead together?" Lu Fan immediately refuses, saying he doesn't need anyone. Just then, the eye patch man says with a creepy laugh, "Young man, you don't understand the rules of the wilderness." And from behind them, the pink-haired woman threatens while showing her knife. In the darkness of the night, the dangers are much bigger than you can imagine. Lu Fan understands that seeing him alone, these people have come to rob and kill him. He thinks to himself that right now he has no skills, so he must avoid this fight at all costs. He lies with full confidence, "I am a summoner. I don't need companions. If any danger comes my way, my elemental creatures will handle it alone." And as soon as he says this, elemental phantoms of fire and water start glowing in the air behind Lu Fan. Seeing his strong aura and confidence, those three robbers are a bit startled. The eye patch man says, "Looks like worrying about you was useless, young man. Let's go from here." While leaving, the pink-haired woman blows a flying kiss to Lu Fan and says with a smile, "Hope we might meet again, handsome boy. Goodbye." After they leave, Lu Fan lets out a long sigh and thinks that these scumbag robbers were backstabbers. He thinks that without power, his life is like a shadow that the winds of fate can blow away anytime. He opens his holographic map and quickly sets off towards the jungle. Upon entering the jungle, he moves forward carefully. In front behind the bushes, he sees a herd of level 8 powerhorn horses. Lu Fan thinks that although these monsters don't attack humans on their own if they are disturbed, he won't be able to face them at all. He decides to take a long detour to avoid them. Moving ahead, he sees level 7 giant horn antelopes eating grass. Out of fear, he is about to sneak away quietly when suddenly his shoe accidentally steps on a frog. The frog lets out a loud croak, and the entire piece of the jungle is shattered. Hearing the sound, all the antelopes glare at Lu Fan with their glowing yellow eyes and roaring in anger charge towards him. "Damn it, I ended up disturbing them after all." Lu Fan shouts loudly and runs away from there, leaving a trail of dust. The antelopes chase after him and Lu Fan sees a steep slope ahead. Without a second thought, he leaps down the slope and crashes badly on the ground. Panting and disappointed, he thinks that in his current condition, he can't even face a cowardly antelope. If he loses the treasure today, his fate will also be crushed underfoot like that frog. But just then, his eyes fall on his map. The map reads, "You have arrived at your designated treasure map location." Lu Fan raises his head and looks, and it really is that exact location. Happily, he enters a dark path formed between two large rocks. As soon as he enters the cave, his eyes are left wide open. On the ground rests a magnificent egg glowing with magma-like red energy. This is a treasure that can change the fate of a Dragon Tamer. A dragon egg, the system appears before his eyes and tells him that this is a black dragon egg with an unknown level, and the biggest thing is this egg is just about to hatch. Lu Fan is just stepping towards the egg when suddenly a noise comes from the bushes behind. He immediately turns around and pulls out an ordinary novice cleaver from his bag. The very next moment, a dangerous level 10 bloodthirsty gray fox emerges from the darkness and pounces straight at Lu Fan. Lu Fan somehow blocks its claws with his cleaver. The system tells Lu Fan that this fox has dangerous skills like triple claw strike and bloodthirst recovery, which means if this fox bites Lu Fan even a little bit, it will recover its full health by drinking his blood. Lu Fan is drenched in sweat. He thinks that since he has no skills, can he stall for time until the dragon hatches, but the fox attacks again with incredible speed. Lu Fan blocks while stepping back and decides that stalling is impossible. He will have to make his final counterattack on the fox's triple claw strike attack pattern. The fox leaps into the air and starts striking with its claws. Lu Fan focuses and counts 3, 2, 1 now, and at the exact right moment he ducks to dodge the fox's attack and thrusts his cleaver straight through the fox's chest with all his might. Blood splatters and the fox falls to the ground, writhing until it dies. A system notification appears. You have defeated bloodthirsty gray fox. Reward 120 XP. Lu Fan pulls his cleaver out and sighs in relief. Phew, well, got rid of that. But suddenly a voice echoes from the darkness. Hey, you actually managed to kill it. Impressive, young man. Lu Fan turns around in shock and is completely stunned. Those same 3 dungeon robbers were standing in front of him again. The eye patch man says with a devilish laugh, "Did you think we wouldn't follow you? You tricked us, didn't you? You said you were a summoner, so why didn't you use your skills while fighting this trash-like fox?" Lu Fan points his cleaver forward and says angrily, "If you want this fox's fur, take it and stop following me." The eye patch man says, "This fox fur is only worth 80 dragon coins. What we want is not this." His gaze falls straight onto that glowing dragon egg in the cave behind Lu Fan. Lu Fan realizes that these dogs have seen his dragon egg. Before Lu Fan can save the egg, the big man shouts loudly, "Attack!" and steps forward to deliver an incredibly powerful punch to Lu Fan. Lu Fan slides brutally across the ground and falls far away. The very next moment that pink-haired woman comes and grabs Lu Fan from behind, placing his own cleaver against his throat. Laughing, she says, "Heh, young man, you underestimated the treasure-hunting power of us dungeon robbers." The big man happily runs over, picks up the dragon egg in his hands and shouts, "Look what I found." But suddenly the terrifying red lines on the egg start glowing intensely. Seeing this, the eye patch man panics. "Oh no, this doesn't look right." Pressing the cleaver against Lu Fan's throat, the woman says, "We got our treasure, now kill him. It's such a pity, handsome, but we must say goodbye." Lu Fan grinds his teeth in anger, resolving that under no circumstances will he let them take his dragon egg. But right then, the sky and the earth begin to shake, and an incredibly massive and terrifying storm of dark energy erupts from the egg. Amidst the light, the shadow of a dark dragon forms in the air. Seeing this terrifying sight, the eye patch man falls to the ground. What kind of monster is this? The smoke clears, and standing right in front of them is a baby black dragon with blood-red eyes. Its roar gives everyone goosebumps. The big scar-faced man backs away in fear. "Get away!" In a panic, the eye patch man throws a toxic poison bomb at the dragon. But the baby dragon diffuses the bomb midair with just a slight flick of its wing. The next moment, the dragon roars in anger and dashes towards the big man at the speed of light. In a single second, the dragon viciously tears the giant man apart with its claws. Seeing the rain of blood, the souls of the 2 remaining criminals tremble. Fearing for his life, the eye patch man crawls backward on the ground and screams, "No, stop!" But the dragon pounces on him and finishes him off right there as well. Seeing both her companions killed in a second, the pink-haired woman starts trembling violently. "Save me, help me. I never thought a newly hatched dragon could be this powerful." Lu Fan himself freezes in shock on the ground upon seeing this power. "So this is a dragon? That's why no one can tame these dragons. Their power level is completely different." Hearing this, the woman goes crazy. "What did you say?" "That was a dragon egg." In a mix of deadly fear and madness, she is about to attack Lu Fan with her knife. But at that exact moment, Lu Fan takes advantage of the opportunity, pushes the woman away, and steps back. "Tried to steal my dragon? This is the fate you chose for yourself." Lu Fan quickly extends his hand forward and shouts with all his might, "Dragon Taming technique." An incredibly magnificent and glowing golden light shoots from Lu Fan's hand and lands straight onto the angrily hissing dragon. The dragon instantly calms down and, looking at Lu Fan, lets out an incredibly cute sound. Cue. Trembling violently and in shock, the woman asks Lu Fan, "Who on earth are you?" Lu Fan stands up with a triumphant and dangerous smile and says, "You wanted to know who I am, right? I am not just a summoner, I am a Dragon Tamer." Just then, a system notification pops up in front of Lu Fan's eyes. Black Dragon Covenant has been established. Skills unlocked. Dragon Claw, Dragon Fang Strike, Dragon's Inspiration. The woman starts crying out of fear and, terrified of death, begs in front of Lu Fan, "Forgive me, I didn't know it was a dragon egg." But Lu Fan looks at her with cold eyes and says angrily, "Monsters like you must have backstabbed and robbed countless innocent people like this. Go and join your companions in hell." Before Lu Fan can finish his sentence, the baby dragon pounces and viciously tears apart that last woman as well. Blood splatters everywhere. Lu Fan takes a deep breath. Phew, finally it's over. After everything calms down, Lu Fan lifts that cute baby dragon into the air and starts playing with it happily. "Ha ha ha, I've finally crossed the gap between the weakest and the strongest. It's this powerful right after being born. Imagine how dangerous it will be after leveling up." He hugs it to his chest and thinks that very soon, people will stop calling Dragon Tamer the weakest class in this world. He starts thinking of a name for the baby dragon. "But what should I call you? Little coal ball? No, black diamond? No, then let's name you." But before Lu Fan can name it, suddenly the baby dragon slips from Lu Fan's hands, starts floating forward, and an incredibly dangerous and intense red-colored fire begins erupting from its entire body. Lu Fan backs away in panic. "Wait, what are you doing?" The dragon rises up into the air and gets completely covered in that blazing red fire. The entire sky starts glowing red, and when that red smoke and light clear up a bit, there is no small baby baby dragon there. Instead, floating in the sky in its place is an incredibly hot, curvy, and beautiful girl. Her long red hair was fluttering in the wind, she had red dragon horns on her head, and she was wearing a tight black leotard that highlighted her large assets. On her back were the same massive black dragon wings, and her blood-red eyes were looking straight at Lu Fan. Fallen on the ground, Lu Fan just keeps staring at that beautiful girl without even blinking. His senses were completely blown away, and the only words that escape his mouth are, "What on earth, what in the world is going on?" Lu Fan was completely bewildered looking at that incredibly beautiful red-haired girl floating in the air. He couldn't understand how a dangerous dragon had suddenly transformed into a human. Staring at the girl, he says, "So this means you can transform into a human form as well." As soon as he says this, the girl suddenly dissolves in the air and reverts back into her small, cute chibi dragon form and nods her head in front of Lu Fan. Just then, his holographic status panel opens right before his eyes. Lu Fan sees that his level has shot up straight from 0 to level 10. His strength, agility, and endurance had all crossed 50 points, and the biggest thing was, after taming the dragon, all his blocked skills had been unlocked. He reads through his skills. Dragon Claw. With this, he could transform his hand into a dragon claw and deal devastating damage equivalent to his pets. Dragon Fang Strike. This allowed him to use dragon energy to deliver an incredibly powerful attack. Dragon's Inspiration, the most amazing skill of all, which directly increased all attributes and attack power of both Lu Fan and his dragon by a massive 30%. Lu Fan happily thinks that this 30% buff is even more powerful than the buff of a high-level priest. He realizes that he no longer needs to fight alone. His base stats alone are now 5-6 times higher than an ordinary human, which means he can easily crush any combat professional at his level. But then another window pops up on the system, showing the status of his black dragon. Looking at that window, Lu Fan's eyes widen in absolute shock. "What?" he shouts in disbelief. His black dragon was only level 1, but all her stats, strength, agility, spirit, and endurance were almost touching 400 points. Having this much devastating power for a level 1 hatchling was completely impossible for any normal human. Lu Fan thinks that even a human expert who is 20 levels higher than this dragon wouldn't last a second against her. The dragon's skills were also incredibly dangerous. Mighty Jaw Strike, allowing her to deal continuous bleeding damage to the enemy. Lava Flame, by breathing fire she could heal herself. Black Dragon Bloodline, the most powerful skill which reduced all incoming damage by 50%, made her immune to all types of debuffs and increased her self-healing by 500%. On top of that, there was a passive skill called Blood Connection that transferred 10% of the dragon's attributes to Lu Fan. Lu Fan now understands why his own stats had suddenly doubled. A massive, terrifying phantom of a dark dragon forms behind him and laughing loudly with absolute confidence, Lu Fan declares, "People say that some hidden classes are the most powerful, but they don't know that in front of a true dragon, any hidden class is equal to trash. Without a doubt, Dragon Tamer is the strongest hidden class in this world." Just then, Lu Fan's gaze falls to the ground. The dragon had transformed back into that hot human girl and was sitting on the ground, happily munching and crunching on her own eggshells. Seeing this innocent behavior, Lu Fan thinks that even though she has taken human form, her habits are still very much like a pet dragon. He walks up to her and starts thinking about what to name her. Smiling, he says, "You are a little black dragon born in the darkness of the night right before dawn. So why don't I call you Zaioi, which means night?" Hearing the name, the dragon girl looks at him happily, lets out a cute ow and hugs him against his chest. Lu Fan affectionately strokes her head and says, "Looks like you like this name. This treasure hunting journey was definitely dangerous, but everything pales in comparison to this reward." Lu Fan asks her if she is hungry. He decides that eating eggshells won't fill her stomach. It's time to hunt some real monsters so Zaioi can have a proper meal. Lu Fan thinks to himself that he cannot return to Jianghai City right now. The university entrance trials are just around the corner, and all his classmates are out in the wilderness leveling up. The title of South Province Scholar and admission to the Dragon Kingdom's top university are now within his reach, and he won't let this opportunity slip away under any circumstances. Leveling up and mastering his new skills is now his top priority. He puts on his backpack and, calling out to Zaioi, sprints towards the depths of the rocky plains with full energy. "Let's go, Zaioi, let's head into the depths of the rocky plains. There are monsters much tastier than these eggshells waiting for us there." A while later, upon reaching the middle of the rocky plains, Zaioi lets out a loud roar. Her gaze falls on a pack straight ahead. Lu Fan checks the system and sees a large pack of level 2 plain hyenas. These hyenas are even more dangerous and venomous than those bloodthirsty gray foxes. Their glowing red eyes and bared teeth look incredibly terrifying as they start sprinting straight towards towards Lu Fan. Lu Fan stands his ground without fear, thinking that just a few hours ago a level 10 fox had badly injured him, but now things have changed. He looks at Xiaoi and with a confident smile says, "If you want to hunt them, go." At Lu Fan's command, the most powerful Dragon Tamer and his dragons spring into action. Xiaoi leaps rapidly into the air, spreads her massive black wings and starts hovering in the sky. The hyenas glare at her and growl, but before they can figure anything out, Xiaoi opens her mouth, and a colossal, blazing, and deadly lava flame shoots out, crashing straight down onto the hyenas. That firestorm is so devastating that the entire area lights up in a single second. The hyenas scream in terror, but they are burned to ashes like mere twigs in that fire. A line of continuous notifications floods the system. Experience points plus 380. Experience points plus 380. Both Lu Fan and Xiaoi start receiving XP continuously. The screen reads, Lu Fan level up to level 2. Black Dragon level up to level 2. Black Dragon level up to level 3. Lu Fan is amazed by this speed, but he says, "Not bad, but if we really want to level up fast, these minor monsters won't do. We need to hunt some elite monsters." Just then they spot a massive and dark cave ahead, from inside which 3 glowing red eyes are glaring at them. A horrifying growl from a terrifying beast echoes from the cave, making the ground shake. With a devilish smile, Lu Fan says, "Xiaoi, forget these little pawns, a much bigger prey is waiting for us." From the darkness of the cave, a massive, muscular, and terrifying lion emerges, but this is no ordinary lion. This lion has 3 heads and its mane burns like fire. The system reveals its name, 3 Skull Blood Lion, a level 25 elite leader boss. Killing it would grant 23,790 XP. Lu Fan knows that normally it takes an entire professional monster hunter team to defeat an elite boss of this level, but he alone is enough. "Xiaoi, let's go!" Lu Fan shouts loudly. Roaring, Xiaoi dashes through the air towards the giant lion. In anger, the lion uses its roar skill, creating a dangerous windstorm and boosting its defense and attack power. The lion opens all 3 of its mouths and starts charging the triple flame skill, preparing to launch 3 massive fireballs at Lu Fan and Xiaoi. The heat of the fire causes the temperature to spike suddenly. Lu Fan sprints forward, pulls out his cleaver, and shouts, "Xiaoi, coordinate with me and interrupt its skill." Xiaoi darts forward with the speed of light from the air and, using her mighty jaw strike skill, delivers a devastating bite to the lion's middle head with her teeth. The lion screams terribly in pain and its blood splatters in the air. The system reads, "Skill interrupted, triple flame." The moment the lion loses its balance, Lu Fan performs a heroic backflip in midair, gripping his cleaver tightly. His entire hand begins to glow with red dragon energy. "Well done!" Lu Fan yells, and while coming down from the air, activates his skill, Dragon Fang Strike. With all his might and dragon energy, he plunges his cleaver straight into the lion's head. A massive, blinding explosion occurs, blowing a huge crater into the ground, and that level 25 elite boss lion collapses dead right there. After the dust settles, Lu Fan lands on the ground panting, and Xiaoi comes and stands next to him. "It's over," Lu Fan sighs in relief. The very next second, the system screen opens. Thanks to the 23,790 experience points, Lu Fan levels up continuously and jumps straight to level 4, and Xiaoi's level shoots up straight to level 9. Lu Fan smiles happily, realizing just how incredibly fast leveling up is by killing elite monsters. But before he can even rest, suddenly the system's ding sound rings in his ears. A large golden treasure box appears on the system, reading, "Treasure map system triggered. Today's treasure map has been sent." Seeing this unexpected notification, Lu Fan is startled, and a huge, excited smile spreads across his face. He says to himself, "Another treasure map. Yesterday's map gave me a black dragon, so what unique and rare item will this new map give me for my Dragon Tamer profession?" He immediately adjusts his backpack and, looking at Xiaoi, says, "Xiaoi, come on, let's go on a new treasure hunt." Xiaoi happily shouts "Awu" in the air, and the two set off deeper into the rocky plains in search of the next treasure. Meanwhile, on the other side, near another extremely deep ravine in the rocky plains, we see a new scene. A group of 3 adventurers is standing there. Among them is a fully armored warrior named Sun Ji, a rogue girl dressed in dark clothes named Kair, and a white-haired girl holding a magical staff named Chin Qiu, whose combat class is still a mystery. These 3 were standing in front of a glowing and eerie portal. With a disappointed face, Chin Qiu says to Sun Ji, "Uncle Ji, this is a very rare opportunity. Should we really let this chance slip away just like that?" Sun Ji, who appears to be the leader of the group, sighs worriedly and says, "Miss, there is nothing we can do. This chance secret realm that has suddenly appeared in front of us requires at least 5 people to open, but we don't have enough people to open it right now." Thinking for a moment, Sun Ji suggests, "I would suggest we send Kair back to Jianghai City so she can bring more people from there." But Kair immediately refuses. She says, No. Even though my agility is very high, it will still take me an entire day to make a round trip to the city. Clutching her magical staff, Chin-Kyu says sadly, these chance secret realms are infinitely more dangerous and rewarding than ordinary dungeons, but their biggest problem is that they only exist for 24 hours. No matter what we do, we won't be able to get help from the city and return in time. Disappointment and helplessness are clearly visible on the faces of all three. They didn't know that at that exact moment in that same plane, a level 4 Dragon Tamer along with his dangerous black dragon was heading right towards them, and soon a new and unexpected member was about to join this empty and incomplete group. On the other side, standing near the portal, Sun Ji, who is called Uncle Ji, was explaining things to Chin-Kyu. He says that her strength is good enough that she will definitely get an opportunity in some top academy, so she doesn't need to worry. But the white-haired Chin-Kyu looks disappointed and replies that she knows all that, but missing out on such an opportunity is truly heartbreaking. Suddenly, Uncle Ji hears the sound of someone approaching from behind. He immediately draws his sword and shouts angrily, "Who is there?" From between the rocks in front of them, a boy steps out carrying a large backpack. This is none other than our Lu Fan. Lu Fan calmly raises a hand and says, "No need to panic, I was just passing through here." Uncle Ji glares at Lu Fan. Lu Fan's clothes were a bit dirty and he had no visible weapons on him. Uncle Ji says, "Look at your condition, young man. Looking the way you do, a material hunter shouldn't be in a place like this." But before he can finish his sentence, Chin-Kyu steps forward and stops Uncle Ji's hand. She extends a hand of friendship towards Lu Fan and says, "Hello, we are from the Chin family of Zhanghai City. I am Chin-Kyu. I know this might sound a bit strange, but can I ask you a question? Would you like to join our team for a little while? You don't have to do anything inside. Just come inside this fortune secret realm with us so that we can have our required 5 members. When we succeed, we will reward you with 100,000 dragon coins. What do you think?" Lu Fan smiles slightly. He thinks to himself that Fortune's secret realm is a place where even the wealthiest Chin family of Zhanghai City wants to enter. This simply means that the final reward found inside will be truly incredibly rare. He says, "I don't have much interest in money, but we can cooperate on one condition, according to the rules." Hearing this, the rogue girl wearing a hooded cloak whose name was Kair glares at Lu Fan angrily. Chin-Kyu understands what Lu Fan means. She says, "You mean you want to divide the rewards found inside the realm based on performance?" Lu Fan nods with a confident smile. "Exactly." Chin-Kyu is a bit confused. She thinks to herself that the average level of their group is around 20, whereas this boy looks much weaker than them. Is he really this confident, or is he just arrogant? But considering the lack of time, she agrees. "Alright, since you want to cooperate, we will team up exactly like that. And to show my sincerity, I will still give you those 100,000 dragon coins." The two shake hands, and Chin-Kyu orders her team to get ready to enter the realm. Meanwhile, looking at a picture of his baby dragon in his mind, Lu Fan thinks that revealing Zhao Yi's identity in front of strangers will only bring trouble. Therefore, he decides that until the secret reward is found, Zhao Yi will rest inside her pet space. Lu Fan and the rest of the group enter the glowing purple portal. The scene inside was incredibly terrifying and dark. There was thick fog and dead trees everywhere. The system's blue screen flashes in the air reading, "Fortune's secret realm, Village of Lamentation. Realm level, intermediate. Realm difficulty, hard. Number limit, 5 or more." Looking around, Uncle Ji says, "This village is a bit too quiet. We can only hear our own voices here." Kair readies her daggers and says that the air feels very heavy and there seems to be no sign of life inside this fog. Just then, Uncle Ji's gaze falls on Lu Fan. He asks with a hint of anger, "Kid, don't tell me you actually came in here empty-handed without any weapons or equipment." With a faint smile, Lu Fan says, "No weapons, heh." And the very next moment, an incredibly dangerous and glowing epic-quality sword appears in his hand. The system reveals that this is the Ink Dragon Deer Antler Sword. Lu Fan rejoices inwardly that thanks to the advanced treasure map he triggered after defeating the 3 blood lions, he got the chance to replace his old newbie cleaver. Chin-Kyu is left stunned looking at that epic sword. "Kid, your weapon truly looks very extraordinary. I thought you were just an ordinary material hunter. Are you a newly transferred student at this age?" Lu Fan calmly replies, "What difference does that make to you?" Chin-Kyu becomes a bit alert and thinks to herself that if this boy has any tricks in his mind, she will stop him right here immediately. But just then, the ground shakes violently and terrifying, rotting zombies burst out, shattering the rocks. A system warning for level 15 decaying zombies appears. A new member of the team steps forward. This is a level 20 knight named Zhao Jia, Holding a massive shield, he shouts, "Uncle G, be careful," and charges straight at the zombies with his shield. The zombies crash into his shield and fall backward. Uncle G praises him. "Well done, Zyojia." The entire team springs into action. The level 23 rogue Kair starts slicing the zombies with her sword at incredible speed. Standing quietly in the back, Lu Fan observes all their movements. He notices that the team's composition is very balanced. One warrior, one rogue, and one shield knight, especially Uncle G, who is a level 28 warrior and will soon advance to his second class. Just then, Chin Kyu steps forward, raises her magical staff in the air, and shouts loudly, "Holy light star rain!" Blindingly bright golden electricity shoots from her staff, and drops of light start falling from the sky onto the zombies like rain. This holy damage severely burns the zombies while simultaneously healing the team members. Chin Kyu confidently explains, "This is the specialty of my class. My hidden class, Holy Light Mage, can attack and heal at the same time." Lu Fan checks her details and sees that she is a level 13 basic Holy Light Mage. He thinks that even though her level is low, her holy magic is highly effective against these zombies. But before the team can even celebrate their small victory, an incredibly terrifying and loud growling sound echoes from within the fog. Lu Fan's eyes sharpen. An elite monster has been alerted, and from the sound of it there are more of them. Tearing through the ground, a massive blood-red zombie emerges. This was a level 20 bloodthirsty zombie. Uncle G shouts loudly, "This is an elite monster. Kair, quickly protect the miss and this boy. Zyojia, come to the front line with me. We cannot let this rotting flesh advance any further under any circumstances." Saying yes, Zyojia moves to the front with his shield. Uncle G leaps into the air and shouts powerfully, "Full moon slash!" A sharp wave of energy shoots from his sword and crashes onto the red zombie. But the situation suddenly worsens when an incredibly massive, fat, and bloody zombie appears right in front of Zyojia. Zyojia attacks it with his shield and yells, "Lunge!" But then Zyojia screams in shock, "What? I can't pull my weapon out." The thick skin of that disgusting zombie traps Zyojia's shield, pulling it inside. And the deadly corpse poison oozing from its skin gets directly onto Zyojia's hand. Zyojia starts screaming terribly in pain, "Brother, son, help me." Uncle G panics, "How is this possible? This is corpse poison. It requires a priest's purify skill to cure. Even though Chin Kyu is a holy mage, she cannot help him with this." He quickly rushes over to Zyojia, pushes him away, and yells at him to drop his shield immediately. Uncle G calls out to Kair to quickly come forward and cover them. The situation had completely slipped out of their hands, and the dangerous elites were now overpowering them. But in that exact terrifying and hopeless moment, Lu Fan steps forward with an incredibly calm and confident expression on his face. His epic sword is already drawn, and there is a dangerous red glint in his eyes. He calmly says to Uncle G and the rest, "There's no need to trouble her. Let me handle this." Seeing Lu Fan stepping forward alone to face such a dangerous elite zombie, Uncle G panics and shouts loudly, "Are you crazy, kid? Step back, that is an elite monster." But Lu Fan pays no attention to his words. He grips his epic weapon, the inked dragon scale sword, tightly, and kicking off the ground, dashes straight towards that massive bloodthirsty zombie. The very next second, a blindingly bright, fiery red energy erupts from his sword as Lu Fan leaps into the air, slicing the zombie from top to bottom into two pieces in a single strike. Blood and dust spray into the air. Witnessing this scene, Uncle G, the rogue Kair, and Chin Kyu are left completely mind-blown. Uncle G stammers in shock, What exactly is your level? How can a newly transferred student's attack power be this high?" Lu Fan calmly rests his sword on his shoulder and without even looking at them, says confidently, "Don't step back, we have to keep moving forward. I am a level 14 student and there is no reason to lie about it. I came here to the stone plain to practice for my upcoming exams." Hearing this, Chin Kyu is severely shocked. She thinks to herself, exam practice? That means he is a student of my own year. But how can a level 14 student's attack power be even higher than level 28 Uncle G's? Before they can be any more surprised, another loud roar echoes from the fog. Another dangerous zombie lunges towards them. Uncle G shouts, "Miss, watch out." Kair immediately pulls out her crossbow and steps forward, but with the speed of a flash, Lu Fan dashes past them and strikes the zombie down right there with his his blade. Lu Fan looks back at them with an evil smile and says, "The level of the zombies will keep increasing as we go deeper into the village. A gap has opened up in the front row. I will fill that gap. Is that okay with everyone?" Kair and Uncle G fall silent, seeing the strength of this unknown and incredibly powerful boy. Chin-Kyu suddenly recognizes his face and thinks in astonishment. Is he that boy about whom rumors have been spreading in Zhanghai City lately? Looking at Lu Fan, she says, "All right, classmate, then I will trust you. You and Uncle G will lead the team in the front. I will heal Xiao Jia and Kair will provide cover from the back. By the way, what is your name?" "Call me Lu Fan." The moment she hears this name, Chin-Kyu's feet freeze to the ground. In utter shock, she thinks to herself, Lu Fan, the rumored hidden class Dragon Tamer. But this is absolutely impossible. If this is the same Lu Fan, then how can Dragon Tamer be the weakest class in this world? Without thinking much further, the entire team helps Xiao Jia up and moves forward. Upon reaching the center of the village, they see nothing but zombie corpses all around them. Uncle G says anxiously that Chin-Kyu's magic cannot cure this corpse poison. This poison will only dissipate when the main boss of this realm, the Mystic Realm Guardian, is killed. Lu Fan notices that the poison is spreading rapidly through Xiao Jia's body. He says, "We have to hurry, otherwise the poison will turn Xiao Jia into a zombie as well." Just then, Kair pulls out her daggers, looks around, and says in confusion, "But there is no sign of any guardian here in the village. Something is wrong." Before she can even finish her sentence, suddenly, a massive mountain of debris right behind Uncle G begins to shake violently. The injured Xiao Jia screams in terror, "Brother son, look behind you." From within the debris, glowing red eyes open and shattering the rocks, an incredibly massive boss monster emerges. Its entire body is made of stones and skulls. Kair screams, "The Mystic Realm Guardian is here." The boss details appear on the system. Iron Skin Zombie level 20. It possesses Steel Skin, which increases its defense by 40%, and its most dangerous skill is Assimilation Absorption, allowing it to eat its target and absorb their health into its own. That giant monster groans from its terrifying mouth, fresh flesh. Lu Fan immediately grasps the entire situation. Xiao Jia's spreading poison has attracted this Iron Skin Zombie. If my guess is right, we have to kill it immediately, otherwise it will eat Xiao Jia and absorb him. Without wasting any time, Uncle G leaps into the air and putting all his strength into his sword, shouts, "Moonlight Slash!" His sword strikes that massive stone zombie, but a loud clang echoes and Uncle G's sword recoils sharply backwards. Uncle G falls back in shock and yells, "How is this possible? We cannot even leave a scratch on it." The monster activates its steel skin and a metallic gleam covers its entire body. Lu Fan dashes forward, delivers a slash, and realizes its defense is too high. It will take time to defeat it, but they didn't have any time. The monster suddenly roars in anger and charges its assimilation skill. It lunges straight towards Chin-Kyu and the injured Xiao Jia to devour them. Lu Fan understands that he now has to reveal his true power. He turns back and shouts loudly, "Chin-Kyu, use your most powerful holy spells together with me. Uncle G, team up with Kair and protect Xiao Jia." Lu Fan extends his sword forward and activates his most unique ability, Dragon Blood Armorization. This was a special effect of his epic sword that infused a user's body part with the power of a dragon. The very next second, an incredibly dangerous and terrifying blood-red fire and dark energy begin to erupt from Lu Fan's right hand. His dark aura is so strong that it creates a windstorm in the air. Right before their eyes, Lu Fan's normal human arm transforms into an incredibly massive, sharp, and blazing red dragon claw. The system pops up, revealing that the power of this dragon claw was coming directly from his pet, the legendary Black Dragon. Meanwhile, Chin-Kyu also raises her magical staff into the air and golden light begins to shine from it. She shouts, "Holy Starlight," and a golden rain of incredibly powerful holy damage begins to pour down from the sky onto that monster. At that exact moment, Lu Fan takes a massive leap into the air. His eyes are filled with fierce confidence. With full strength and speed, he smashes his blazing red dragon claw straight into the face of that massive level 20 boss. When the holy magic and the dragon's brute force strike the boss simultaneously, a massive, blinding explosion occurs, making the entire village tremble. After that devastating explosion, when the dust clears slightly, the giant iron-skin zombie roars loudly, "Flesh!" But the very next moment, its entire stone body begins to crack horribly and crumbles, falling to the ground. The team realizes that the real power of this boss was fusion absorption, through which it had created such a thick stone shield. Standing behind, Uncle G is completely stunned seeing this incredibly powerful skill of Lu Fan. He thinks to himself, "In my many years of career in the Qin family, I have seen incredibly powerful people people one after another. But this boy, he is definitely a very dangerous hidden professional. Seeing this sight, Chin-Kyu's eyes are left wide open. She says in shock, the guardian of this realm was defeated this easily. She looks closely at Lu Fan and thinks to herself, I have never seen such a powerful skill until today. He alone defeated a level 20 boss so easily. Lu Fan, just who exactly are you? Just then from within the fog, a glowing level 20 ironskin zombie treasure chest falls to the ground. Uncle G puts his sword down, walks up to Lu Fan and says to him with deep respect, Lu, my friend, we will follow the rule we decided upon. We didn't know each other before and some people in our team underestimated you. Please forgive us for our behavior. You have the power to clear this entire hidden realm alone. Now it feels like we just came here to take a walk with you, haha. With a slight smile, Lu Fan says, you are exaggerating a bit too much. Anyway, Chin, now it's up to you how you distribute this loot. Chin-Kyu steps forward and opens the chest. 3 items flash on the system screen. The first was a strength potion. The second was a rare quality antidote potion that could cure corpse poison. And the third was morning bracers, a piece of fine quality equipment that increased strength by 16 points and endurance by 17 points. Seeing these rewards, Lu Fan is a bit disappointed. He thinks to himself, doesn't this seem a bit too trashy, getting only such low-level items in a level 20 mysterious realm? That's just impossible. Uncle G tells Chin-Kyu to quickly give that antidote potion to Xiao-Jia. Chin-Kyu picks up all 3 items and places them straight into Lu Fan's hand. She says, Lu, this is everything you deserve. Keep these bracers along with the strength and antidote potions. Looking at them, Lu Fan smiles and thinks that the people of the Chin family are truly very honest about their rules. Lu Fan takes out the antidote potion from among them and gives it to Xiao-Jia to drink. Upon drinking the potion, Xiao-Jia's condition begins to improve, and the poison vanishes from his hand. But exactly at that moment, Chin-Kyu looks around and becomes a bit confused. This is strange. We defeated the boss, but we can't see the exit portal anywhere. Everyone starts looking around. Just then, Lu Fan says in a panic, wait, don't go anywhere right now. Lu Fan quickly opens his system panel and checks the progress of the Village of Grief. There were checkmarks next to Corrupt Zombie, Fresh Blood Zombie, and Iron-Skinned Zombie, but the final boss icon below them was still empty. Lu Fan tells everyone, this iron-skinned zombie was not the final boss of this place. Chin-Kyu points her magical staff forward and says in a slightly frightened voice, Uncle G, as a holy light mage, I can truly feel a very terrifying dark presence, and it is right near us. Uncle G grips his sword tightly. If the miss is saying this, it means the real boss is hiding somewhere nearby. Walking together, they all arrive near a lake at the edge of the village. The water in the lake suddenly starts boiling violently and terrifying bubbles start emerging from it. Lu Fan says seriously, this realm isn't that big. It's possible we missed something while entering the village. The very next second, from inside that water, an incredibly massive and dark shadow begins to emerge. It's coming, Lu Fan shouts. Tearing through the lake's water, terrifying and massive black tentacles burst out. On top of these tentacles, there were strange red eyes scattered everywhere, glaring at all of them. On the system screen, there were only question marks next to the level and loot of these tentacles. Seeing this, everyone gets goosebumps. Uncle G shouts, Lu Fan was right. This is the final boss of this place. Everyone be careful and take cover behind the barricade. Those giant tentacles launch a direct attack on them. Uncle G steps forward and tries to block a tentacle with his sword. But the force of that tentacle is so dangerously high that with an incredibly loud clash, Uncle G's sword is violently knocked backwards. Uncle G screams in pain and is brutally dragged across the ground, falling far away. On the other side, another terrifying tentacle whips through the air straight towards Chin-Kyu. Paralyzed with fear, Chin-Kyu extends her magic staff forward, trying to protect herself. The tentacle was rushing towards her at full speed, and her escape was almost impossible. But exactly at that second, moving at a blur speed, Lu Fan dashes through the air. He reaches straight to Chin-Kyu and scoops her into his arms in a single swift motion. Carrying her in his arms, Lu Fan narrowly dodges the deadly attack of that tentacle and lands at a safe distance. Seeing her life saved like this and being held in Lu Fan's arms, Chin-Kyu's face turns red with embarrassment and a soft ah escapes her mouth. Getting up from behind, Uncle G yells in a panic, Miss, are you alright? Chin-Kyu, still in Lu Fan's arms, answers yes. When they all turn around and look towards the lake again, their fear knows no bounds. From under the water, the final boss had now completely emerged. It was an incredibly massive and horrific monster, its entire body made up of those terrifying tentacles tentacles with eyes. And the most terrifying part was that right in the center of that boss, a witch-like woman was hanging in the air, her hands and feet bound by chains. Suddenly, the full details of that final boss begin flashing on the system. Grieving Spectre level 25 boss. Boss difficulty, hard. And looking at its stats would make anyone's soul tremble. Its agility was 183, spirit 150, and endurance 266 points. It possessed a passive skill called Corpse Chi Envelopment that was constantly reducing all attributes of every human present there by up to 20%. But the thing that posed the greatest threat to Lu Fan and Chin Q was this boss's final skill, Immutable Resentment. This skill directly reduced the damage and effect of every fire and holy attack on the boss by 30%, which simply meant that both Lu Fan's Blazing Dragon Claw and Chin Q's Holy Magic were now going to fall weak against this boss. Seeing that massive boss, Uncle G steps forward and tells Xiao, stay behind me, I will hold it off. But Xiao raises his shield and says that he can still fight and will help in blocking. At that exact moment, Lu Fan takes his Ink Dragon Scale Sword and rapidly dashes forward through the air. Uncle G shouts from behind, trying to stop him, Lu Fan. But Lu Fan does not listen to anyone. Leaping into the air, he thinks to himself, Uncle G and Xiao are holding it back from behind. I will have to handle this boss alone. And since this boss is a zombie, there is only one way to destroy it forever, killing its main body. His eyes were fixed on that witch-like woman hanging by chains in the center of the boss. But before Lu Fan can reach her, the woman opens her terrifying mouth and lets out a deafening scream. A dangerous dark soundwave and smoke erupt from her scream. The system screen pops up, revealing that this is Corpse Chi Envelopment, which reduced the attributes of every living creature present there by up to 20%. This deadly shockwave violently pushes Uncle G, Xiao, and even Lu Fan backwards. Lu Fan takes a hit, but he refuses to give up and tries to move forward again. Just then, Chin Q screams in panic from behind, Lu, watch out for those iron chains. The very next moment, the boss uses its skill Chain Lash, and massive, heavy iron chains fly out from inside the lake, launching a series of deadly attacks at Lu Fan one after another. Lu Fan narrowly dodges a chain and flips in the air, seeing which Uncle G shouts in fear, oh no. The boss angrily hurls even more chains towards the entire team. Uncle G raises his sword and shouts, charge. Xiao steps forward and starts blocking those heavy chains with his shield, sending sparks flying everywhere. Kair also rapidly dodges from her position and fires her arrows. Meanwhile, Lu Fan is single-handedly trying to slice through these giant chains with his sword. He sees the team's condition and realizes the force of these chains is way too high. If they keep resisting like this, they will definitely be killed. A chain rushes rapidly towards Lu Fan, but he steps back and shouts loudly to everyone, all of you, step back. Lu Fan grips his sword tightly and activates his skill. Dragon Fang Strike! A massive glowing energy shoots from his sword and strikes the boss, making the woman scream in pain. But the boss does not stop at all and uses the Chain Lash skill again, continuously attacking them. This time, Lu Fan does not step back. Instead, he extends his hand forward and uses the special effect of his epic sword, Dragon Blood Armor Transformation. An incredibly blinding fiery light flashes, and Lu Fan's ordinary hand once again transforms into that terrifying and powerful blazing red dragon claw. Standing behind, Uncle G realizes that this final boss is truly beyond their capabilities. He calls out to Lu Fan, little brother, we cannot defeat this boss. We need to retreat from here for now. Lu, we are nothing in front of it. If you delay any further, we will all be in danger. But Lu Fan says, Uncle G, take everyone and head back towards the village because the zombies there have already been cleared. Chin Q asks, but what about you? Lu Fan replies, I will handle things here alone, and he steps forward. Pulling Chin Q back, Kair shouts, Miss, hurry, we are completely useless here. We just have to rely on Lu Fan. Walking forward, Lu Fan thinks carefully. Even if this 20% attribute-reducing debuff was not here, these people still would not be of any use in this fight. He glares at the boss and says with a confident smile, since everyone now fully understands their limits, then let the one step forward who can actually handle this alongside me. The boss angrily lets out another horrifying scream. But Lu Fan is not scared at all. He extends his normal left hand forward into the air. The very next moment, a massive, glowing golden and fire-filled magical portal opens in the air right in front of his hand. The entire realm trembles from the blinding light and heat of that portal. Laughing, Lu Fan calls out loudly, you can come out now and destroy as much as you want, Xiao Yi. From inside the portal, an incredibly loud and spine-chilling roar echoes, and the very next second, tearing through that golden portal, an incredibly massive, dangerous, and terrifying black dragon emerges. Seeing her blood-red eyes and large black horns, the minds of every single person standing there are blown away. Trembling violently out of fear, Kair steps back. What is happening? This is a dragon? Xiao and Uncle G's eyes are left wide open in disbelief. This boy Lu Fan. summoned a giant dragon. Without wasting a single second, Xiaoyi activates her giant jaws assault skill. She performs a high-speed dash from the sky and pounces on that giant boss with her massive sharp teeth. She starts tearing the boss ruthlessly with her jaws, dealing continuous bleeding damage. The boss screams loudly in pain. Xiaoyi is so powerful and fast that she literally tears that level 25 final boss into pieces with her claws and teeth. Blood and chunks of the boss rain down, falling into the lake water below. Standing behind, the entire team freezes in shock upon witnessing this terrifying sight. Did he really defeat the boss? Xiaoji says in complete awe. Dismembered the boss in just a few attacks. This is so terrifying. Everyone becomes almost hypnotized as they stare at the giant black dragon in front of them. Qinqiu's breath is caught in her throat. Her blue eyes are staring at Lu Fan, who is standing right next to the massive black dragon without even blinking. All the puzzles in her mind were now solved. She thinks to herself, the mysterious and powerful person whose rumors have been spreading in Zhanghai City for the past few days. Is it really you, Dragon Tamer Lu Fan? Here we see a flashback from 300 years ago, an orphan girl who was raised by the church. She stayed away from the darkness of witchcraft, but then a plague destroyed everything. Piles of corpses stacked up by the lake, and people started dying even before they could be buried. That girl just wanted to save everyone, but in the end she became a dark witch. She summoned the dead spirits so that the living could say a final goodbye to the dying. But the very church that gave her shelter turned around and accused her of spreading the plague. They bound her in heavy iron chains and tied her up like a dog. The villagers screamed at her, claiming she had harmed them, but the crying girl pleaded that she was the one who gave them the chance to say a final goodbye to their families. Drowning in the cold water of the lake, bound in chains, the girl's last words were, "I just wanted to save everyone. I did nothing wrong, so why?" Back in the present, standing by the lake, Uncle G says in astonishment, "How can Lu Fan summon a dragon?" Xiaoji says happily, "We can finally leave this secret realm now." But looking intently at the water, Lu Fan says, "If the portal hasn't appeared, it means the boss is not dead yet. It is too early to leave from here." The very next moment, the lake water starts boiling and that grieving specter bursts out of the water with a terrifying scream. Why? You bastards. It is all because of you people." Seeing the boss, Kair shouts in panic. The boss is transitioning into the next phase. The system screen reveals the boss's new form. Morning Grace level 25, boss difficulty, hard resentment form. The boss screams along with her massive dark magic attacks. Do not even think about escaping from here. The boss's dark orbs fall on the team, but Lu Fan's black dragon bloodline reduces the damage. Kair steps forward and attacks the boss with her daggers, but her weapons pass right through the boss. She says in frustration, "I cannot destroy it at all." The system reveals that the body of resentment is completely immune to physical damage. Seeing this, Kair loses all her courage. She falls to her knees on the ground and says, "It is all over. Miss, please forgive me, I couldn't do anything." But Qinqiu stops her and says, "No, I should be the one apologizing. It was because of my stubbornness that we entered this secret realm and now everyone is trapped here. But at this point, are you all just going to give up? I am the only one who can use magic attacks, but at my level, the damage will not be enough." The boss is immune to physical damage. In this situation, we cannot even save ourselves. She asks Lu Fan in a panic, "Lu Fan, do you still have any magic attacks?" Over there, the boss screams while attacking them with dark energy, "Bastards, this was not my fault. This was not my fault." Looking at the boss, Lu Fan says calmly, "I cannot do it." The team starts getting scared, realizing that the level gap between a Dragon Tamer and this boss is too huge. The boss screams in anger, "This is all your fault." But there is a confident smile on Lu Fan's face. Golden fire starts burning in his hand as he continues, "But my dragon pet definitely can. Do not be afraid. A dragon's attributes cannot be compared to humans." Lu Fan extends his hand forward and shouts loudly, "Xiao Yi, lava blaze." The very next second, Xiao Yi opens her mouth in her giant black dragon form, and a massive, dangerous, and scorching firestorm erupts from inside, crashing straight onto that boss. That fire is so intense that Qinqiu, Uncle G, and the rest start stepping back from the heat, shouting, "Ah, it is too hot. This is like absolute destruction." Burning horribly in that fire, the boss screams and is completely crushed and burned to ashes right there. A notification appears on the system. Xiao Yi's level increases to 11 and Lu Fan's level goes up to 5. Lu Fan says with a comfortable smile, "Well done, Xiao Yi." The smoke clears a bit and Uncle G shouts while coughing, "It is over, I can see the portal." Finally out of this smoke, "Sister Kai, are you alright?" But suddenly the will of resentment triggers on the system, under which all the dead in that realm are revived. All the zombies in the village come back to life, making laughing sounds as they start advancing towards the team. The team is still in shock when suddenly Xiao Yi flies down from the sky in her human form. Straight from the air, she breathes red fire from her mouth, attacking those zombies and completely destroying them. Uncle G and Chin Q are left staring at that girl with wide open eyes. Uncle G asks, "What is this? Is this that same giant dragon?" Q says in astonishment, "The zombies we were struggling to kill, she wiped them out effortlessly." Lu Fan explains with a smile, "This is the black dragon Zioyi. Zioyi deals with these minions as if she's playing a game." After everything calms down, Lu Fan casually walks over to a glowing golden treasure chest resting there. He turns to look at his team and says, "Now that the boss has been killed, there is no need to be so tense. After dividing the rewards, we can prepare to leave from here. According to the rules, I get to pick first. Does anyone have any objections?" Q quickly replies, "No. Why would we object?" After that massive boss collapses in the fog, a magnificent glowing golden treasure chest appears there. This time Lu Fan steps forward himself and opens the treasure chest with his own hands. As the chest opens, incredible loot spills out: a holy light staff, a twilight cloak, a ring of mourning, and an incredibly rare class change scroll. Lu Fan immediately looks at the class change scroll and says, "I choose this." Q steps forward and tells him, "Lu, you don't need to go out of your way for us. After all, according to the rules, all of this belongs to you." Lu Fan calmly explains that he isn't pretending to be a gentleman. The remaining equipment has spirit attributes that would suit Q much better, but he genuinely only needs this class change scroll. However, Q knew that if Lu Fan hadn't been with them today, they would all have been killed here. She steps forward, picks up the rare ring of mourning, and hands it to Lu Fan, insisting, "Lu Fan, please at least accept this." Lu Fan finally agrees and takes the ring with a smile. "All right, then I won't be shy anymore." After that, Lu Fan bids them farewell and leaves from there. The scene shifts to Jianghai City. It was 7 in the morning and Lu Fan finally arrived back at his small bun shop. As soon as he walks in, his auntie Han Ki comes crying and hugs him tightly. "Lu Fan, you are safe. It was so dangerous. You went into the extreme wilderness where there are such dangerous monsters." Lu Fan, a bit hesitant, says, "Auntie, careful, my clothes are dirty. The wilderness dust will ruin your clothes too." But Auntie, crying bitterly, says, "I haven't slept properly for the past few nights. I was afraid that if I fell asleep you might never come back." Lu Fan gently calms her down and apologizes, "I am sorry, Auntie, for leaving without telling you. But don't worry now, I promise I won't worry you like this again." Wiping her tears, Auntie says okay. Just then, Auntie's gaze falls on the dragon girl Zioyi standing next to Lu Fan. Seeing the little girl crying, Auntie asks in surprise, "Why did this little girl start crying when I hugged you? Was she the one who scared me that day?" Lu Fan smiles, changes the topic, and hands the glowing class change scroll to his auntie. "Auntie, this is a reward I specially brought for you from a dungeon. If you change into a hidden occupation, you won't have to run this bun shop anymore." Auntie panics, tries to return the scroll and says, "No, this scroll is too precious. You should sell it and buy high-level equipment for yourself so you can perform well in your exams." Seeing his auntie's concern, Lu Fan smiles, takes out his phone and shows it to her. "Auntie, I am not short of money or equipment." The phone screen displayed a balance of 289,702 dragon coins. Auntie screams in shock, "Lu Fan, this much money?" Lu Fan explains that he earned this money by selling monster materials and helping a classmate. "Trust me, Auntie, we won't have to worry about money in the future anymore." Hearing this, Auntie agrees and uses the scroll. A glowing blue light surrounds her and the system screen flashes. Hidden life occupation, enchantment chef. Lu Fan happily asks what is special about this new class. Auntie explains that now she can add special stats and buffs to the food she cooks. Lu Fan says excitedly that Auntie's cooking skills were already amazing, so now the buffs from her food will be even more powerful. Meanwhile, on the other side, a man in a suit was sitting in a luxurious office. This was Q's father, Qin Shanhai. He confidently says, "Very well. But did you people inform him to sit with me? I would definitely like to meet this Dragon Tamer, but I have some other arrangements tomorrow morning." The morning of the next day, in that old district of Jianghai City where Auntie's bun shop was, a magnificent car with a royal flag arrives. A massive bodyguard completely covered in dark black armor and a blonde-haired girl step out of it. The girl was wearing a frilly Lolita dress. They walk straight to the door of Old Han's steamed stuffed bun shop. From inside, Auntie Han Ki calls out, "Coming, what can I get you?" But as soon as she steps outside, that giant armored bodyguard rudely shoves his hand forward and shouts, "Get lost. A peasant like you is getting in our way." Auntie cries out in pain and falls backward. But at that exact second, a swift hand reaches out from behind and catches Auntie before she hits the ground. It was Lu Fan. There is an incredibly cold, angry, and dangerous glint in Lu Fan's eyes, staring straight at that armored guard. Feeling Lu Fan's suddenly erupted dark aura, the guard is startled and looks back in fear. Auntie looks at the guard in a panic and says that a very disgusting stench is coming from him. Lu Fan steps forward and asks, "Is everything all right?" "Auntie, you go inside first." That blonde-dressed girl steps forward and looking at Lu Fan with immense arrogance says, "So you are Lu Fan? This princess has come specifically to meet you." Lu Fan, slightly confused, asks, "You came looking for me, who exactly are you people?" The armored guard steps forward and introduces, "This is Princess Jinju of the Taezu Kingdom and I am her attendant, Kui Hongtai. The princess is here to offer you a breakthrough opportunity." "Breakthrough?" Lu Fan asks, narrowing his eyes. The guard steps forward and opens a large box he is holding right in front of Lu Fan. As the box opens, revealing an incredibly beautiful dragon egg with golden scales resting inside. "A dragon egg," Lu Fan says, looking at it. Princess Jinju forms an incredibly arrogant, devilish, and smug smile on her face. Looking down at Lu Fan, she says, "How is it, commoner? Isn't my condition very simple? I want you to become my slave. You will do whatever I say and you can never refuse to obey any of my commands." And that is where part 1 and 2 of this epic story come to an end. The journey ahead is about to get a lot more dangerous. If you want to see what happens in part 3, make sure to drop a like on this video and subscribe to the channel.